Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sharon Kalibula, and this is the Camnet Evening News with the headlines. Leslie CHIKUSE succeeds James LUKUKU as RPP president. And 31 million pumped into the construction of Simon MWEWA Lane Market. Government in talks with MAAMBA collieries over power disputes. In international news, conflict worsens in Ethiopia region as airports attacked. And in sports news, KAMANGA urges under-17 girls team to stay focused. Join me shortly for the details.
Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua, the Healing Word Ministries International.
Starting on the 3rd to 6th December 2020.
Dr. Francis Miles from the USA returns to Zambia for a conference on issuing restraining orders.
Because you see, God responds to your revelation. So if you approach God as the healer, He heals you. If you approach Him as your shepherd, He will touch your soul. But if you approach Him judicially, He will show you He's the cause.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Time,
17 hours to 19 hours from Thursday to Saturday.
And on Sunday from 09 hours to 11 hours. For more details, call +260 962 965 883. You do not want to miss this conference this time.
The details. The newly installed Republican Progressive Party RPP President Leslie CHIKUSE has vowed to carry the vision for RPP and the alliance partners for the better of Zambia. Taking the mantle from the late President James LUKUKU at the installation ceremony held in Lusaka Saturday, Mr. CHIKUSE announced his intention to fight for a better Zambia as a party and member of the opposition alliance. CHIKUSE emphasized that his party is intact even after the death of LUKUKU. He says the party will carry on with his vision of promoting a just and fair society. The late James LUKUKU formed Republican Progressive Party and was leader until his demise 2 weeks ago.
You must understand that President LUKUKU was not only a good public orator and a very good, courageous person, he was a very good writer. If he writes your proposal, it will be approved. That is the caliber that President LUKUKU was. So as we have said, we are now taking on the vision that President LUKUKU has, added with the vision that is going to come from the membership of the Republican Progressive Party and the vision that you Zambians are going to endure in the Republican Progressive Party. And we are not going backwards. We are going with full force. We are unstoppable. Having said that, this is the tribute that I must say that we will miss President LUKUKU. And we would have loved him to be there in 2021 so that he vigorously be there as we shall be taking the mantle. But the party through the manifesto will be able to carry his vision and adapt from his vision to ensure that this political party becomes progressive.
United Party for National Development Chikankata Member of Parliament Kabwe Mwenga has observed that access to basic health services is vital in ensuring a healthy population, which is a catalyst to the country's sustainable development agenda. Speaking when the lawmaker handed over a mini clinic to help deliver basic health care services in Chikankata, Mr. Mwenga says the clinic will offer maternal and adolescent services, among others. Details in this report.
The saying goes, a healthy population is a prosperous nation. While access to quality healthcare may no longer be an issue in other areas, it is not the case in many rural areas like Kasengo Ward in Chikankata district. The people here walk about 15 to 20 kilometers to access the nearest health center, and mostly they access services in Kafiwe district. It was a moment of joy for the people of Kasengo Ward as the area member of parliament commissioned the clinic. and Chikankata Constituency Kasengo Ward Councillor Shepard Mwene has hailed the area Member of Parliament for the initiative.
We want to inform the nation that before the MP came to give us this structure, our women used to accept the maternal care under the tree. Even our children used to access the maternal care under the tree. But now that this structure.
Conrad Ngoma is Chikankata District Council Chairperson.
Iguguhamali munkomu atazwa ku CDF atazwa kuli aguguha munkomu kutiji yagwe kuli aba ku party egicho tubwene wawa nga twagaje hasuno kaboneka mbuli uti kanini pati chintu chi party chakuti yahangwa nsege awaga sengo insege yiminina inseba habala.
Speaking when he handed over the facility, United Party for National Development Chikankata Constituency Member of Parliament Kabwe Mwinga is confident that the government will be able to provide drugs and other necessities so that the people can have easy access.
What motivated me is that one day as I was going around the constituency, I found ladies, rather women who were being checked of their pregnancies and some other issues who were actually being done outside under the tree. So it prompted me such that one day I thought I should do something for them, which I believe I've done, and it is my sincere hope that government will open, actually bring drugs here so that people can get the necessary health facility that they actually need.
The lawmaker also took time to implore the people of Chikankata district to take time to register as voters despite the process being frustrating.
It's my sincere hope that probably by today or tomorrow, all the issues that are being surrounding our constituencies are going to be attended to. As I earlier alluded to the other day, Mr. Shindamo was at Mulungushi International Conference, where he assured us that voter registration would actually be, officers would actually be at the polling stations for 30 days, of which, to my surprise, there are some assorting. Now they are talking of 7 days. Now I want to urge them that this country belongs to all of us.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Chikankata.
President Edgar Lungu says his government is focusing on formulating legislative policies to educate local farmers on the opportunities in the agriculture sector. President Lungu says there is need for the agriculture sector to be transformed for export, which will in turn translate into economic growth. He was speaking when he launched the export of fresh blueberry fruits to China by the Zambezi Berry Company on Friday. The head of state notes that the Chinese market imports a significant quantity of blueberries from countries like North and South America, adding that Zambia's addition to China's blueberry market is a step in the right direction for Zambia. Prudence Cholda has the details in this report.
Zambia's Republican President Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu has flagged off the export of crown berries to the People's Republic of China. This makes Zambia the first African country in the SADC region to have its blueberries reach the Chinese market. The head of state says the Zambian agriculture sector has grown to a level where the country is able to meet international standards of trade.
It's a joy for me to be here today to officiate at this very important event, the launch of the export of fresh blueberry fruits to China by the Zambezi Berry Company. There's definitely no doubt that this blueberry project will raise the profile of the agricultural sector in our country, particularly in the horticulture subsector. With this project, we have also become the only country in the SADC region to have access to the lucrative market for blueberries in China. This is a significant development in the history of Zambia, contrary to those who are saying PF means by a farmer, by a farm. We are farmers' friends, and we make sure that farming succeeds in Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, for this economy to grow, we have to focus on transforming the agricultural sector and changing our mindset to believe that the agricultural sector can be transformed to be export-oriented. It is pleasing to note that even during the current COVID-19 pandemic, the country has the capacity to export agricultural products to competitive markets. I'm aware that the Chinese market imports a significant quantity of blueberries from countries in North and South America. I'm therefore pleased that we are positioning ourselves to compete for a larger share of the blueberry market in China. The agricultural industry has grown to a level where we are now able to meet international standards of trade. We have the capacity to penetrate most of the international markets. All we have to do is to increase our production and put in place appropriate systems that support exports.
Zambezi Berry Company Managing Director Graham Ray has called on President Lungu to intervene in the 5-year water permit which the Water Resource Management Authority WAMA has granted his company, considering that the project has the capacity to go up to 12 years.
The Water Resource Management Authority, known as WAMA, ought to be responsive to the needs and demands of the agricultural sector, as this directly affects investment in the sector, which leads to lack of production stability and long-term planning, and consequently no farmer, let alone a financier, would be willing to invest in the water sector with plantation crops that take 5 to 7 years to cover costs, with a lifespan of 20 years plus. Macadamia life span is 100 years. As you can see, everything revolves around water, Your Excellency. We developed this farm from bush into what you see here now, which is a very big irrigation farm of approximately 1,000 hectares. Employment numbers from 2002 have increased from 100 workers to 1,400 employees currently. Now, Honourable Your Excellency, we employ more than the mines employ, and we've got the ability to create more employment than the mines can. Farming, Your Excellency, is sustainable. What you put into the ground, you get out of the ground this year, next year, and for the life of you and for the life of your children. Unfortunately, mining is not annually renewable, and no one's going to give it back to us.
People's Republic of China Ambassador to Zambia, Mr. Li Jing, says a number of Chinese firms have grasped the opportunity to invest in the agriculture sector in Zambia.
Exporting the Zambia-grown fresh blueberries to China is a fresh story for agricultural cooperation between the two countries. It will contribute a lot to the promotion of the bilateral economic and trade cooperation and the development of friendly relations between China and Zambia. And we would certainly like to see that more quality agricultural products of Zambia would land in the Chinese market. We are still making greater efforts to promote the exporting of Zambia agricultural products to China, such as beef and lamb.
Meanwhile, Mr. Lee has assured that Zambia's soybean cake is undergoing the access procedure of inspection and quarantine and is expected to be exported to China next year. Prudence Tota for Camnet TV News.
Energy Minister Matthew Nkoa says government is renegotiating its tariff agreement with MAAMBA collieries to ensure that a fair deal is reached between the two entities. Mr. Nkoa says the price at which government has been acquiring power from MAAMBA collieries is unsustainable, making it difficult for government to pay the entity. He, however, says MAAMBA collieries is willing to reduce the cost at which it will be selling its power to government. Meanwhile, Mr. Nkoa says government has secured a plan to ensure that fuel cargoes are delivered every 7 weeks in order to eliminate fuel shortages in the country. The minister has revealed that about 300 trucks are currently offloading fuel in the country and that fuel vendors are expected to take advantage of the situation to control the shortage.
You know that MAAMBA Collieries is selling power at 11 cents and ZESCO is selling power to you at 6 cents. So where does the difference come from? Where does the difference come from? The 5 cents, where does it come from? And that's where the trouble is. That's why they are renegotiating the tariffs with MAAMBA Collieries. No, MAAMBA is their power plant, and we are trying to negotiate. With the CEC, we couldn't, they want us to buy power at 11 cents per kilowatt hour and sell it to them at 6 cents per kilowatt hour. And we are saying no, we can't do that. That is the CEC issue. And MAAMBA is selling us that power. We're trying to say now, please, that tariff is not good enough for us. Can you please reduce it? That's what we are saying. We are discussing with them and they are agreeing. They are going to reduce the tariff to a reasonable figure. The current status is that the first cargo is in and it's being treated right now. That's what I'm saying. Indanians got fuel and they're operating full time. And when they finish that cargo, by first week of December, somewhere there, we should get the second cargo. And we've programmed that every 6 to 7 weeks we get another cargo. At one time, yes, we had a shortage when the fuel was not running. Now the trucks are running and we are filling up the tanks. We've got about 300 trucks that are offloading fuel right now as I'm talking in dollar. So it's just a question of logistics for those people. And obviously when people see 4 or 5 cars, they start panicking buying and then it runs out. But I can tell you that even me, I undertake trips to check around to see how the fuel situation is. I can tell you that we are on top of things as I'm saying right now. It's up to those vendors to lift the fuel and come and get it. It's not that we don't have the fuel is there. So we're not going to micromanage the filling stations. They have to manage the filling stations. If you go to Zambia, we have got fuel. We've got it in our tanks and people have got waivers and they've got fuel. So fuel, as far as I'm concerned, in my office, everything is okay. And I've undertaken trips, like we didn't have fuel at Longmakers, both filling stations. And we did engage those people. They just had a lapse on ordering themselves.
Caritas Zambia Executive Director Eugene Kabilika has charged that Zambia is a victim of misplaced priorities in various sectors by those bestowed with authority to lead this country. He says government's preoccupation should be reducing poverty levels on top of its agenda. In an interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Kabilika cited the constitution of a commission of inquiries whose resolutions have been public and sometimes to implement as activities that have amounted to wasteful expenditure. He notes that the cost of living, which is above 7,000 kwacha per month for a family of 5, as measured by the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflections, has resulted in a lot of people failing to make ends meet. He has since urged government to take proactive measures in eradicating poverty.
As we know, most of these inquiries, nothing happens. What has happened to the inquiry on voting patterns and the political violence? Where is it? It is there. Only that is, anyway, it was released to people and you can read it. But what about that commission of inquiry for Barroso? Where is it? No one has seen it. It has just been there. So we should be doing things that solve. At the moment, what is solve our problems? At the moment, what is key for Zambians, for me, is the question of high levels of poverty. People are suffering, they are failing to put 3 meals a day. Ways to take their children to school. Very few families can sponsor their own daughters and their own sons to go to the university like Apex, to go to the university like University of Zambia. There's no allowance for meals. So it means if I have a son or you have a son at the University of Zambia, you are helped to pay fees. But you have an extension of your home. Every month you are feeding that person. So the country can pay attention and resolve issues that people are suffering at the moment.
Lusaka Deputy Mayor Christopher Shakafoswa says education and funding are vital to support healthcare professionals in the fight against diabetes. Mr. Shakafoswa says bridging the social gaps required coordinated and concerted efforts from various stakeholders to invest significantly in initiatives that empower people with information. He was speaking during the commemoration of World Diabetes Day held at East Park Moor today under the theme The Nurse and Diabetes. The Deputy Mayor says it is necessary to bring awareness to diabetes because the number of people living with diabetes has increased. He explains that this year's theme was timely as it's focused on raising awareness around the crucial role that nurses play in supporting people living with diabetes. The Lusaka Deputy Mayor therefore emphasized the importance of recognizing and giving nurses the support they deserve in the work they do to save lives. Meanwhile, Mr. Shakafoswa has appealed to the general public to be prime movers of awareness campaigns on diabetes.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, World Diabetes Day is a global event commemorated on the 14th November in many countries. It serves as a global platform to bring out more awareness about diabetes because the world population of people living with this condition has been increasing each year, including here in Zambia. This year, the theme for the global campaign is focusing on raising awareness around the crucial role that nurses play in supporting people living with diabetes. It is therefore important that as a nation, we recognize and give our nurses the support that they deserve because they make a difference for people affected by diabetes. Education and funding are vital to support healthcare professionals in the fight against diabetes. As a city father, I'm very elated and encouraged to learn that this event, apart from being a day of sporting and fun activities, the primary focus is to create awareness, sharing of information, as well as conducting free medical checkups and consultants related to diabetes.
Just a correction there, the Deputy Mayor is Jonas Shakafoswa and not Christopher Shakafoswa. Meanwhile, in a related development, the Civil Society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance is urging government to recruit more nutritionists to help deal with the increasing cases of lifestyle disease such as diabetes in the country. Commemorating the World Diabetes Day, which falls on the 14th of November annually, CSO Sun Country Coordinator Matthews Moro says employing more nutritionists will help the country reach its goals. Mr. Moro says although other health workers such as nurses have played a critical role in providing care to the people with diabetes, the role of nutritionists and dietitians in management of diabetes cannot be overemphasized.
As a civil society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance, we're making a call to government to consider addressing the challenges that relate to just human resource when it comes to nutrition. This is an area that has had a gap. It's really sad that if you look at Zambia, we have less than 450 nutritionists dotted around the country just to support the country with efforts to reduce the high rates of malnutrition, and on the other side to also support the fights against diabetes. So this is a call that is going to government to see how we can deal with the diabetes challenge as just other non-communicable diseases by filling up the human resource gap.
The Health Professions Council of Zambia has warned health practitioners against neglecting behavior or any form of negative attitude towards patient. HPCZ Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Mwanafunwa cautions the council that the council will not take lightly such acts because they breach the professional conduct of aspiring citizens. Mr. Mwanafunwa says as government continues to invest in infrastructure, human capital and equipment, including ensuring stable supplies of medicines in all public health facilities, health practitioners are expected to also perform excellently. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwanafunwa has reminded members of the public to act responsibly and safeguard the infrastructure, which is intended to enhance the provision of quality services. The HPCZ Registrar and Chief Executive Officer said this upon concluding his tour of public health facilities in Western Province to assess the implementation of healthcare standards.
We want to urge all our practitioners to go flat out and provide an excellent service. I think the people of this country will not allow anything less than an excellent health care, because there is human resource, there is equipment, there is infrastructure. I think to match up with that, what is required from the practitioners is an excellent health care that should be provided to the people. As a council, we won't take lightly any bad conduct with regard to how the patients are being treated. So any indication that a practitioner is out of the way in terms of how they're supposed to attend to the clients, we'll make sure that they are reprimanded accordingly. And this is why we want to encourage them to ensure they do the right thing, ensure that they respect the patients, ensure that they give them information in a way they should understand. They do everything in their ability to do to ensure that the people receive an excellent service. I think this is our expectation as a council. Below that, we won't take it lightly. We'll ensure that every complaint that we receive is investigated, and if we find someone wanting, we'll ensure that they are punished accordingly. I think our message to the people is to get involved in what is happening. There are a lot of community activities that they can get involved. They need to take care of this infrastructure.
You're watching Camnet News. We take a break, but still to come are more interesting stories. Stay with us.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Lamwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets.
Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua, the Healing Word Ministries International.
Starting on the 3rd to 6th December 2020.
Dr. Francis Miles from the USA returns to Zambia for a conference on issuing restraining orders.
Because you see, God responds to your revelation. So if you approach God as the healer, He heals you. If you approach Him as your shepherd, He will touch your soul. But if you approach Him judicially, He will show you He's the cause.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Time,
17 hours to 19 hours from Thursday to Saturday.
And on Sunday from 09 hours to 11 hours. For more details, call +260 962 965 883. You do not want to miss this conference this time.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. Government has released 31 million kwacha towards the completion of Simon Mwewa Lane Market in Lusaka. Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU National Coordinator Chandakabwe disclosed at the development when he toured the facility. Mr. Kabwe says the market is an important component in the fight against street vending and disease outbreak such as cholera. He has attributed the delays in completing the market to the COVID-19 outbreak, which he says affected all sectors of the economy. Mr. Kawe notes that the market will accommodate a lot of marketeers, which will in turn reduce street vending. The national coordinator said that government has released another 200 million kwacha for the construction of a market shelter and modern ablution blocks at Chisokone Market in Kitwe. He said this will improve the sanitation situation at the market.
Has opened up and that His Excellency the President again has given guidance that we need to live in the new norm of the COVID-19. Again, not forgetting the guidelines of the Ministry of Health that has given us, who've brought people back on site, and you're able to see that we're holding conference today to ensure that the works continue and to show the commitment of government towards the completion of this project. Government has listed 1 million kwacha in order to help these works to speed up and to finish. So that is a commitment of government, and our target to finish this market, the new dates that we are proposing, if all our weather is on our side and everything is on our side, we are trying to finish this market within the period of 4 months. We should be able to conclude and hand over this market to the Ministry of Local Government and the Lusaka City Council to allow the marketeers or all traders to come. Further to the works, I'm sure my engineers may say something, but I want to assure all the traders that your government is committed. This is why even 31 million in these difficult times, government has found it prudent to ensure that funds are secured to complete these works. So the people in the informal sector, don't be cheated. The government of His Excellency the President cares for you, and this infrastructure is yours.
So on this market, we are on 28%, implying that we are remaining with 12% for the market to be ready for completion. And as Defense Force, we've been given a mandate to see to it that this structure is completed within 4 months. And I can rest assure you that come April, we should be able to hand over this market to the marketeers.
Gender-based violence in Zambia has continued to increase, with most women being the main victims. 30-year-old Monica Daka of Mazabuka District, Southern Province, a victim of GBV, is demanding that her former husband, whom she had been married to for 10 years, between them 4 children, to be apprehended for physically abusing her. The victim says her alleged ex-husband, Justin Nyale, never wants to see her happy despite the couple being on separation for 4 years. Details in this report.
Although she separated from her ex-husband, whom she lived with for 10 years, scars from a past relationship remains visible. Monica Daka, 30, narrates how her ex-husband attacked her in the presence of her 2 children. The unemployed mother of 6 says her ex-husband had called her that he wanted to get his 2 kids and travel with them to Mozambique, but when she took the 2 children, he got upset and started beating her, questioning where the other 2 were. She disclosed that in the 10 years' time they have lived as husband and wife, they had 4 children together, and the man has never paid an amount toward a bride price.
So nize naenda na bana so bana nzana bolo batenga tate wao so anapeza mwana we nangubalia vipi wanani Espanyumba nikulode nzana ndinafuna bora utengele bana so ninakuwa napeleka tabela bana babiri. Sasa we nangu mwana namba 2 na bwana wao zatisalipo.
Daka is now married to a 29-year-old Buta for almost 4 years and have 2 children together. Despite her effort to move on and find a better life, her past keeps haunting her as her former husband always ensures that she has no peace of mind. Meanwhile, her current husband, Martin Smanje, has called on the men and women in uniform to take action against his wife's abuser.
I married a woman whom I found with 3 kids. 4 kids, not 3. But the husband is still following those children. And how am I going to survive keeping somebody's children and he's following my wife and started beating him? Whereas the main purpose of me communicating to him was that I wanted the sponsorship of one of these children in order for them to start education. Now, according to how I'm living a scarce life. I'm scared. When he finds me, he's going to kill me. Because he's a dangerous man. He has been moving with dangerous weapons. And those weapons, if I to see him, I'm also scared because I can never compare myself with him. He's huge.
In Zambia, as in many countries, domestic violence tends to be seen as a private issue. This and other types of gender-based violence, including rape and sexual assault, go underreported. Every year, the country commemorates 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign, yet there are many cases that remain unsolved and many perpetrators walk free. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Mazaboka.
In other news, Kanyama Ward 10 Area Councillor Brighton Bilumba has bemoaned the increase in crime levels in his ward, which he says is a result of unproductive youths. He says the young boys, commonly known as junkie, have formed groups and now attacking and suspecting members of the public and destroying property. He notes that vandalizing of a police post in the area by unruly members of the public has also contributed to the rise in criminal activities in the area. The councillor has since appealed to residents in his ward to abide by the laws and not resort to destroying public property every time they are aggrieved. The police post was destroyed during the gassing incident earlier this year and has not been rehabilitated since.
Security issues are compromised with the coming of the junkies on the ground. People are being harassed, others are being beaten day and night by the junkies. Yes, I want to accept that the police men and women in uniform are doing their duty, but I think they are overwhelmed. Why? It's because we don't have the infrastructures that is supporting their work. And by so saying, I say, we all remember as Kanyama that 2 police posts were destroyed during the gassing time, and those 2 police posts are still lying in ruins. Yes, we have started doing 1 or 2 things, but there's a need of our corporate partners, the business persons, to come on board and help us build these 2 police posts. This is Kanyama West Police Post and Mumba Road Police Post, and when these 2 police posts are done, probably security issues will be enhanced and our people will be safe in Kenya. As you may all be aware that these 2 infrastructures were built using community initiatives. And when you build, you destroy what you built, it means you have to rebuild it yourself. And the cost is on us. And I think we should not even blame the government. We should not even say Boma Yanganeko, because we allowed these people to destroy it without protecting those infrastructures. My advice is that please, as and when we have any crisis, we should not resolve in destroying that which belongs to us, because we will need those infrastructures tomorrow.
On a sad note, 3 children of Chief Nkomesha in Chongwe district in Chishiko village have lost their lives after drowning in Chishiko Dam. The incident occurred on 14th November 2020 around 12 hours. The deceased juveniles have been identified as Darius Zulu, 12, Isaac Zulu, aged 12, and Kelly Bongo, aged 12, all of the village Kakubo, Chief Nkomesha of Chongwe district. Zambia police spokesperson Esther Katongo told Camnet TV News that the bodies are in Chongwe Medical Facility mortuary.
Police in Chongwe received a report of drowning on CHIKUSE Dam involving 3 children, which occurred today at about 12 hours at Chisomo village in Chifunkomesha. The deceased juveniles have been identified as Darius Zulu, aged 12, Isaac Zulu, aged 12, and Kelly Bongo, aged 12, all of village Kakubo, Chifunkomesha of Chongwe district. The victims were in the company of 2 other friends who managed to swim ashore. And they've been identified as Meshek Njovu, aged 11, and Anton Lungu, aged 12, of the same aboard. The victims met their fate after they had gone swimming. The bodies were retrieved and they're in Chongwe Medical Facility mortuary awaiting postmortem.
The Zambia Anti-Tribalism Youths Organization Deputy Chairperson Simata has urged politicians to avoid tribal talks in their campaign message, but instead tell the people of Zambia what they will do for them once given an opportunity to rule this country. Mr. Simata says his call should also apply to government in power, who must use what they did for the people of Zambia during the campaigns. He says it is unfortunate that political figures have decided to engage in character assassination, regionalization at the expense of real issues affecting the people of Zambia. Mr. Simata says the people of Zambia are information hungry, urging politicians to be realistic by selling themselves with good manifestos. Mr. Simata was speaking to Camnet TV in an exclusive interview.
Every political party has got its own manifesto. They should win goodwill from the public around based on what they will do for them. Take, for example, ruling party is already in power, and there are other projects which they think will attract the minds of people. Why not basing their campaign on what they are doing? You see that? Yes. No, vote for us. We did A, B, C, D. We did A, B, C, D. As reasonable people, we are going to think about it. Is it true what they are telling us? Then we are going to reflect on what they are doing, including opposition parties. They've got a manifesto. There are things that they'll think they'll do better than what the ruling party has done. So it's their mandate to tell us what they'll do for us. That will be different from what the ruling party has done. And we'll be attracted to that, without looking at where a leader is coming from. We are not going to be assisted as the nation.
In a related development, a Lusaka-based freedom fighter, George Mfalali, has blamed young politicians for allegedly fueling tribalism in the country, adding that those perpetuating the act must not be condoned. Mr. Mfalali is disappointed that politicians have continued failing to uphold unity in diversity, which the forefathers fought for. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Mfalali recalled that it was going to be difficult to liberate the nation if freedom fighters were divided based on tribe. He says in view of upholding peace and unity in diversity in the country, tribal talks or issues of regional voting must not be entertained. He says under the One Zambia, One Nation motto, Zambians have been coexisting as evidenced by the intermarriages, thus suppressing issues of tribal inclination.
When we were fighting for independence, we were one, right? We were not divided, right? Now, a surprise, as we are explaining it, to say today we young people are dividing the nation. It is true. It is true. Had we been the way it is today, with this division, we could have failed liberating this nation. We couldn't have liberated this nation. That selfishness, which is hampering the nation, that should be avoided. Right.
You're watching Camnet News. We take a break, but still to come is international and sports news. Stay with us.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua, the Healing Word Ministries International.
Starting on the 3rd to 6th December 2020.
Dr. Francis Miles from the USA returns to Zambia for a conference on issuing restraining orders.
Because you see, God responds to your revelation. So if you approach God as the healer, He heals you. If you approach Him as your shepherd, He will touch your soul. But if you approach Him judicially, He will show you He's the cause.
Venue: the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Time:
17 hours to 19 hours from Thursday to Saturday.
And on Sunday from 09 hours to 11 hours. For more details, call +260 962 965 883. You do not want to miss this conference this time.
We now look at international news. Forces in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region have fired rockets at airports in the neighboring state in a widening of their conflict with government. The tensions between the government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which controls Tigray, boiled over into military clashes this month. Officials said airport areas had been damaged in rocket attacks. The TPLF confirmed the responsibility, saying the strikes were retaliatory. Human rights group Amnesty International said it had confirmed that scores and likely hundreds of people were stabbed or hacked to death in the town of Maikadra on 9th November. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has accused forces of loyal to Tigray leaders of carrying out the mass killings, while TPLF has denied their involvement. The deadly fighting in Tigray has forced thousands of civilians to cross the border into Sudan, which it says will shelter them in a refugee camp. Reports also indicate that getting independent verified information about the situation in Tigray is hard because phone lines and internet services are down. In other news, U.S. President Donald Trump has spoken publicly for the first time since the election was projected for the rival Joe Biden. In a White House news conference on the U.S. coronavirus response, he insisted that he would not put the country into lockdown under any circumstances. But in a reference to the election result, he said whatever happens in future, who knows which administration it will be. Mr. Trump has yet to concede the election to his Democratic rival. BBC has more on these stories.
This administration will not be going to a lockdown. Hopefully the whatever happens in the future, who knows which administration it will be. I guess time will tell. But I can tell you this administration will not go to a lockdown. There won't be necessity. Lockdowns cost lives and they cost a lot of problems. The cure cannot be, you got to remember, cannot be worse than the problem itself. And I've said it many times. And when you look at what happens during a lockdown, I just say it very loudly. It's horrible what happens with drugs, alcohol, depression, loss of jobs, business closures. It's a terrible thing. So this administration will not go, under any circumstances, will not go to a lockdown, but will be very vigilant, very careful. We understand the disease. It's a complicated disease, but we understand it very well. We ask all Americans to remain vigilant, especially as the weather gets colder and it becomes more difficult to go outside and to have outside gatherings.
Typhoon Vamco is the 21st cyclone to hit the Philippines this year and the most deadly. It made landfall on Wednesday, but we're only beginning to see the full extent of its devastation. It comes 2 weeks after Typhoon Goni hit the Philippines, hitting the Bicol region. But what we're seeing at the moment is the province of Cagayan being hit particularly badly. The Magat Dam there has been opened up to simply let out all of the water that's been collected in the water basin there. It's been overwhelmed by a lot of water. A lot of rain has been dumped on the Philippines, on the main island of Luzon, which is the most populous island. And although this storm may not have packed as higher winds as Goni, it certainly brought more rain. And at the moment, one official has described the Cagayan province like the Pacific Ocean. So lots of search and rescue efforts are going on there. The United Nations Children's Fund are appealing for money to support the thousands of children in need of help at the moment. We've seen on social media families on the roofs of their homes trying to avoid the rising water levels. And there are issues reporting this story as well. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown issues, any reporter who wants to travel from Manila to go to the Cagayan province has to quarantine for 14 days. So reporters are asking for that to be waived to allow them to do their work.
We now look at sports news. In sports news, the Football Association of Zambia FAZ President Andrew Kamanga and his executive committee have congratulated the Under-17 Women National Team for emerging second at the just-ended COSAFA Championships. In a congratulatory message to the team, Kamanga said that the Under-17 had done the nation proud by improving their third place, finishing at the 2019 inaugural tournament. He encouraged the team to take a leaf from their seniors who earned a historic qualification to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The Zambian team lost 4-3 on a post-match sport kicks after the match ended 1-1 in normal time. Well, that item ends our news this evening. The headlines once again. Leslie CHIKUSE succeeds James LUKUKU as RPP president. And 31 million pumped into the construction of Simon MWEWA Lane Market. Government in talks with MAAMBA collieries over power disputes. In international news, conflict worsens in Ethiopia as airports are attacked. And finally, in sports news, Kamanga urges Under-17 girls team to stay focused. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from Ephesians 4:31, and it reads, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice." Thank you so much for joining us on the news desk. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Good night and keep watching Camnet TV.